Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into a real legend today. The 1967 Shelby GT500 Super Snake.
Yeah, this one's special.
It's not just another muscle car story. This is about a one-of-a-kind car that well, it almost changed everything.
It really is. It's like this perfect storm of ambition and engineering, It all starts with Ford redesigning the Mustang in 1967,
Right.
which, that leads to the Shelby GT500.
Yeah, the GT500 is already a beast,
Mhm.
but this is where things get really interesting.
Yeah,
Goodyear wanted to show off their new Thunderbolt tires,
right.
and they thought, who better to help than Shelby American?
So Goodyear approaches Shelby American for this big promotional event,
Uh,
and Don McCain, who he was a former Shelby sales manager,
okay.
he had this wild idea. He was like, why not build a supercar,
Yeah.
Something to really push these tires to the limit.
So they take a GT500 and drop in a 427 racing engine, the same one that powered the Ford GT40 to victory at Le Mans. I mean, can you imagine pitching that back then?
It was a bold move for sure, but they went for it. Shelby picks Fred Goodell to get this car ready.
Okay.
It chooses GT500 number 544 and basically rebuilds it from the ground up to handle this insane power.
So not just an engine swap, but a total transformation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They put in that lightweight 427 engine, a special rear axle, a reinforced transmission, you name it all, to handle that power.
Did they do anything to make it look different from a regular GT500?
Oh, yeah. Goodell added a few things,
Right.
just to set it apart. He added those chrome headlight surrounds
Right.
and a special Le Mans stripe design, two narrow blue stripes flanking a wider blue center stripe.
Nice.
Just so you knew this wasn't your average GT500.
They had the beast of a car ready to go.
They did.
What happens next?
So the stage is set. It's March 1967 at Goodyear's high-speed test facility near San Angelo, Texas.
Okay.
The Super Snake arrives, sporting 10-spoke Shelby aluminum wheels and those cutting-edge Thunderbolt white wall tires.
Oh, man, just regular white walls. I thought those were supposed to be these high-performance tires.
They were. But Goodyear wanted to prove how durable these tires were, even in a high-performance situation.
Oh, okay, I see.
And to make sure those sidewalls stayed stiff and didn't overheat during the test, they overfilled them with nitrogen.
Smart. So who got to drive this beast?
Shelby himself took the wheel, pushed the Super Snake to its absolute limit.
Wow.
He managed to hit a top speed of 170 miles per hour.
170. That's insane for back then. I mean, what did that do for American muscle cars?
Well, think about it. Most American muscle cars at the time, they were all about quarter-mile times,
Right.
This was different. This was showing that these cars could compete on a whole other level, even against European sports cars.
Okay, so the car hits this crazy speed. What about the tires? Did they hold up?
Amazingly, yeah. The Super Snake averaged 142 miles per hour over the entire 500-mile test.
Wow.
And those Thunderbolts, they performed flawlessly, retained 97% of their original tread.
So this is a total win for Goodyear then, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Not only did it prove that the tires could handle the speed, but it also got people talking about the Super Snake,
So you'd think they'd want to build more of these cars, capitalize on all the buzz, right?
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Don McCain, he had hoped to build a limited production run of 50 Super Snakes.
Okay.
But there was a problem. The price tag.
Ah, I see where this is going. What were they asking for this supercar?
Estimates put it at more than double the price of a base GT500.
Oh, wow.
And get this, it was even more expensive than Shelby's own 427 Cobra.
Wow. That really puts it into perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Even for someone who wanted the best of the best, that's a serious investment. So what happened? Did anyone actually buy one?
Well, about that.
This is where it gets interesting, right?
Yeah, the market just wasn't there yet for a muscle car at that price,
Right.
It seems crazy now considering what some of these collector cars go for these days.
I know it.
But back then, no matter how impressive the Super Snake was, it was just too much.
Yeah. It really makes you think, what if they had built those 50 cars? How different do you think the whole muscle car scene would have been?
Oh, man. It's fascinating to think about, if Shelby American had been producing these 427 powered beasts alongside the GT500, I mean, it could have shifted the entire focus of the muscle car market.
Right. It wouldn't just be about those quarter-mile times anymore. Suddenly you've got this American car that can hang with European sports cars, both in speed and on the track.
Exactly. And imagine what it would have done for Shelby American as a company. They would have been seen as even more innovative and daring. It might have even elevated Ford's image as a performance leader.
It's a shame it didn't happen. Do you think part of what makes the Super Snake so legendary is that it's this missed opportunity? You know what I mean?
I think that's a big part of it, yeah. It's this tantalizing glimpse into what could have been this golden age for American muscle, you know? It sparks the imagination.
Yes, it's like this big what-if moment in automotive history.
Yeah.
But even though there's only one, it still had a huge impact, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The Super Snake's legacy, it's about more than just numbers. It's about pushing boundaries and daring to dream big, you know?
Speaking of dreaming big, before we move on, I have to ask, what happened to that one and only Super Snake?
Well, it didn't just sit in a museum or anything. It actually had quite the journey after that tire test.
I'll bet it did. Who ended up with this piece of history?
Well, the first owners were James Haddon and James Gorman. They got it straight from Shelby. Then it went to Bobby Pierce, who owned it for 25 years.
Wow, 25 years. That's dedication. He must really love that car.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah.
And then after that, it passed through the hands of a few other collectors, David Lobenberg, then Charles Lillard, each owner, recognizing they had something truly special.
It sounds like it went to some pretty serious car enthusiasts. Did any of them try to restore it?
That happened a bit later. Richard Ellis, a collector with a passion for rare Mustangs, decided to give the Super Snake a makeover.
Okay.
Restore it to its former glory.
That must have been quite the project. What all did that involve?
Well, Ellis was committed to keeping it authentic.
Yeah.
He tracked down period-correct components, even things like the wiring and the fire extinguisher.
Wow, that's incredible attention to detail. What about those Thunderbolt tires? I can't imagine those are easy to find these days.
You'd be surprised. He actually managed to find a brand new set of Thunderbolt whitewall tires in the exact size he needed.
Wow. That's some serious dedication.
Oh, yeah.
So it sounds like he really brought this car back to life. Did it get any recognition after the restoration?
Absolutely. It even earned a place in Colin Comer's book, $1 Million Muscle Cars. A fitting tribute for such a special car.
Yeah. So where is the Super Snake now? Is it still with Richard Ellis?
It eventually found its way to Shelby collector John Wickey. He's been taking care of it since 2013.
It's amazing to think about the journey this car's been on. From a tire test to $1 million muscle car. It's a true automotive icon.
And that journey, it tells us something important about the Super Snake. It's a reminder that even though it was a one-off, its impact has resonated through generations of car enthusiasts.
Right. It sparked dreams, inspired designs, and proven that American muscle can be about more than just brute force.
It's about innovation pushing limits and creating something truly exceptional.
Well said. Now I think we're ready to shift gears a bit and explore how the Super Snake has shaped the automotive world as we know it. So we've talked about this crazy story about the Super Snake, its missed opportunity for production, and how it's become this legendary one-off. Now I'm curious, what kind of lasting impact did it actually have on the car world?
It's actually had a bigger influence than you might think.
Really?
Yeah. The Super Snake was more than just a fast car.
Right.
It challenged conventions. It pushed boundaries, and that had ripple effects throughout the industry.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, think about its design. The Super Snake took the Shelby GT500's already aggressive look and just amplified it.
Right.
Those chrome headlight surrounds, the unique Le Mans stripes, the overall muscular stance, they all kind of contributed to this image of pure power and performance.
So you're saying those design elements influenced later cars?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we see echoes of the Super Snake's design language in later Mustangs and other muscle cars. That combination of sleek lines and in-your-face aggression.
Yeah.
It became like a hallmark of American muscle car design.
That makes sense. But what about beyond just looks? Did the Super Snake influence how cars were engineered?
That's where it gets really interesting. Remember, this was a time when American muscle cars were mostly focused on straight-line speed.
Right.
Quarter-mile times were king. But the Super Snake showed that a muscle car could be much more than that.
You mean because it could handle high speeds for a long time?
Exactly. By putting a race-bred engine in a street car and proving its durability over 500 miles at high speeds.
Right.
The Super Snake demonstrated that American muscle could compete on a whole new level. It was like a wake-up call for the industry.
It's like they took that 427 engine, which was designed for endurance racing at Le Mans,
Right.
and said, hey, this can work on the street too.
That's a great way to put it. And that approach, it influenced how engineers thought about performance. It wasn't just about horsepower anymore. It was about handling aerodynamics and building cars that could perform at high speeds for a long time.
So you're saying the Super Snake planted the seeds for what we now consider high-performance street cars?
In a way, yeah. It showed that you could have a car that was both brutal and sophisticated. A true driver's machine that could dominate the drag strip and also, carve up a canyon road.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, I know we touched on this earlier, but it's hard to ignore the fact that this car is worth a fortune now. What kind of impact has the Super Snake had on the world of car collectors?
Oh, it's undeniable. The Super Snake's impact on collector car culture is huge. You
Yeah.
know, its rarity, its performance, and its place in automotive history make it one of the most sought-after muscle cars in the world.
Yeah, I bet those few owners who had it over the years had no idea just how valuable it would become.
Imagine being Bobby Pierce owning that car for 25 years. It's like having a piece of history in your garage. And every time the Super Snake appears at an auction or a car show, it's a major event. It draws massive crowds and reminds everyone of the power of these automotive legends.
And all that from just one car. It's kind of amazing when you think about it.
It really is. The Super Snake story is a testament to how a single unique creation can leave an enduring mark on the world. It's a reminder that pushing boundaries and pursuing excellence can lead to something truly extraordinary.
Well said. And that about wraps up our deep dive into the 1967 Shelby GT500 Super Snake. We hope you enjoyed this look at one of the most unique and influential muscle cars ever built. Thanks for listening.